Hello, dear seekers. This is Carrie. Welcome to the Healing Corner. Today, the emotion that we'll be unpacking is I am a survivor or I am resilient. The reason why I picked these emotions is because April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Violence against women is a work that's very dear to my heart. I actually think is one of my callings to unpack and discuss about violence. You have to be aware that men and boys are also affected by sexual violence or by any kind of violence. But women and girls experience sexual violence at a higher rate. There are many phases of sexual violence. You can experience sexual violence in the end of a boyfriend or girlfriend, a stranger. It could be sexual violence within an intimate partner relationship. It could be a child who has been sexually assaulted. It could be the violence that you go from a pure stranger. It doesn't matter where you get it. It affects many of us. So let me give you a few statistics, a few numbers regarding sexual assault. Here in the United States, I went to the Rape, Abuse, Incest National Network to get some of the statistics. It says that every 73 seconds, an American is sexually assaulted. It also stated that 1 out of every 6 women will experience some kind of sexual violence at some point in their lifetime. What about internationally? What about in Asia, in Africa, and other parts of the world? I am originally from the Democratic Republic of the Congo, so I am Congolese. And rape is actually an epidemic in my country of origin. There are many beautiful things, experiences about the Congo. However, as a Congolese, I have to make sure that I also mention that rape is actually killing our women, our girls, and our boys. A United Nations representative said one time that, and I'm going to read this. He says that the rape capital of the world is the Democratic Republic of Congo. And 1 woman in every minute is raped in the Congo. Congo is not the only place in Africa or in the world who go through that. You heard also the statistic in the United States. It is very high. So what can you do when you work with a survivor? I'm gonna give you the 3 or 4 steps that you need to know. It doesn't matter if you are a professional or this is a friend or this is a family member. First, when someone has the courage to come to you and to acknowledge that they have been raped. Because remember, there are many people who have been assaulted and they will never, never tell another soul. You know why? Because they don't feel safe and most likely they will be re-traumatized again. So when someone comes to you, it is a privilege and is your duty. First, you need to tell that person, that survivor, I believe you. Second, you have to tell them it is not your fault. It doesn't matter if you went on a date with that person that you didn't know. It doesn't matter if you had a sexy dress. It doesn't matter what you do. It is never your fault if you're a victim of sexual assault. The third step for you is to create a safe place for that person. make sure that they are not afraid to the best of your ability. And then the fourth step, I want you to provide comfort. Be there for them. Maybe they don't need your prayers. Maybe they don't need your encouragement. Maybe they don't even want to hear you say anything. They don't need an advice. They just want comfort. It could be a hug. It could be giving them food. It could be anything. You have to meet them where they are and just ask them, what can I do for you at this moment? They will be very appreciative. Then after all those steps, then you can definitely think about referrals, right? Ask them if they want to see professionals, but you have to go through all those steps. You cannot just jump to the end and ask them to see this professional, that professional. I'm also going to leave you the National Sexual Assault Hotline here in the US. You have to call 1-800-656-HOPE. HOPE is the number 4673. So I'm going to read the number again. 1-800-656-4673. I live in a college town. So believe me, especially in college town, sexual assault is pretty high. So if you have been a victim, don't forget that your university has a wellness or health promotion department. Make sure you call them and they will be there for you and they will guide you. I always work with students, not just in therapy, but also when I get to teach at the university. There are many resources out there for you. Please, you have to remember you are not alone in this. So, what can we do to unpack these emotions? First, as you know, I always start with a poem that I wrote. Today, if you allow me again, I'll be reading my poem titled Survivors. You bear humanity's sufferance on your shoulders. Your beauty has been exploited since the beginning of time. Your vagina has been a source of pleasure, intoxication, and an eternal curse. In the forbidden desires, some men will kill for you to experience nirvana. Yet, they torture you every day by the decisions and actions they make. Their silence, indifference, and greed have destroyed your essence. Have you heard of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Afghanistan, Pakistan? What about Thailand, India, Russia? Women are born to be casualties. Politicians bargaining deals with no regard to women's right to self-determination. Systematic rape is used as a weapon to silence women. Conflict and wars are fought on their bodies. Sex tourism has enriched countries on the backs of their women, girls, and boys. Hope looks like a dim light. Dreams are forever forgotten. Shell of a woman. Bodies are vessels where nightmares are made of. Survivors or victims, you decide. Consumers of pleasure, perpetrators in the dark night. Danger looms ahead. Predators waiting to pounce on the prey. Selling dreams of a better life. taking away the potential of a new life. I ask you to stop and speak up. You are no longer allowed to destroy the fabric of humanity. You cannot continue to soil the sacred bodies of our queens. You cannot continue to defile the precious souls of our future. Stand up to end violence against women, girls, and boys. So thank you so much for listening to this poem. And after you digest everything that I read, I want you to take the time to unpack and see how you feel inside of you. I also wanted to share with you someone by the name of Margaret Smith. She also has a sexual assault awareness video on YouTube. So please go listen to her and maybe subscribe. I also have a very dear friend of mine. She's also a clinical social worker. She does video pertaining to guided meditation. If you've been through any kind of trauma and you need to create a safe space in your mind, in your spirit, go visit her channel. Her channel is Vena Cain, and she's also a coach. She provides a lot of coaching sessions. You can call her and you can go on her website, on her channel on YouTube. So my dear friends and my dear seekers, I hope this was not a difficult topic, but it is a topic that we have to address and take away the stigma, because a lot of us go through this. If not today, at some point in your lifetime. I'm gonna read again one of the excerpts from my book. Today is April 4. So the author says, there is hurt and there is love. They roll us through the days, like a turtle down a hill. All we can do when on our back is to roll one more time and head for the sea. So some of the few steps he's giving us to practice. The first one, he wants us to sit quietly and bring to mind and heart an act of isolation or control that you invoke which hurt another. Another one, he wants us to, for ourselves, to express our pain, to write a letter if someone has hurt you. Don't forget that if you cannot find a closure with that person, you can always write a letter. You can always meditate. You can always pray. You find the way that you want to unpack that pain. The last one, he says, enter your day and let your heart tell you whether to mail the amends or not. So in the case where he gave you a difficult example to write a letter to someone who has wronged you or hurt you, you can either mail it or you don't have to do that. You can just keep it to yourself and maybe create a space where you can burn it. You can have candles, you can have anything around you, you can have crystals so that you can unpack. It is important for you guys, if you're a survivor, that you talk to someone. Don't keep all this emotion to yourself. Because remember, we talked about the habit of trauma. When we don't take care of them, an acute stress like a sexual assault can turn to a chronic condition where you start dealing with post-traumatic stress. And that becomes even more challenging. So my dear seekers, please do not forget to take care of yourself, to take care of your loved one, to take care of your families, and most importantly, to remember that you matter. We're going to take a deep breath. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Are you ready? Okay, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Last one, inhale, exhale. Of course, if you need a natal chart, astrological chart reading, feel free to give me a call. If you need therapy, you need coaching, you need assessment, feel free to check my website at www.soul-affirmingllc.com. And of course, with my love of astrology and astronomy, when we think about sexual trauma and violence, when I do my report and reading, I usually look at the planet Mars. The planet Mars is the planet of action, but it's also the planet that has sexual energy. And you also have to look at the 8th house, which is ruled by Scorpio. This is another fascinating part of spirituality that I love to dig in and to be deep in that space. You need to find your own way to create your spiritual foundation so that you can heal yourself. My dear seekers, I want to wish you happy healing. Thank you.